Consider a finite duration discrete time signal x of n. I have shown a finite duration aperiodic discrete time signal x of n in this figure. The signal exists only for some time, indexes minus n and n, and the signal value is 0 outside this region. So you can see this in this figure. So the signal is starting from minus n and it is going up to n, and for other regions its value is 0. However, we have only knowledge about discrete time Fourier series, which we have learned in the previous video series, in which we are trying to find the frequency spectrum of a periodic signal. By using that knowledge, how to find the frequency spectrum of a finite duration aperiodic signal x of n given in this figure. So that is our question. As in the case of continuous time Fourier transform, which we have already learned, we have to start with the DTFS, that is discrete time Fourier series, approximate our aperiodic signal as a periodic signal, and then increase the time period of the signal to infinity. So if you increase the time period of the periodic signal to infinity, it will become an aperiodic signal, which we have already seen when we learn about CTFT. So the same thing we are trying here also. So let us replicate the copies of the aperiodic signal x of n and create a periodic signal. We can denote that periodic signal as xn0 of n. So it is shown in this figure. So this is xn0 of n, and this xn0 here, n0 represent, we have replicated this aperiodic signal for every n0. That is what this name suggests. Now, as the period of the signal xn0 of n increases to larger values, we can see that this signal xn0 of n will become equal to x of n, because these replicas will go to infinity and it will become like an aperiodic signal. So this can be represented mathematically as limit n0 tends to infinity, xn0 of n is equal to x of n. So this equation says that when the period of the signal xn0 of n is increasing to large values like infinity, it will be equal to the aperiodic signal x of n. So that is our main assumption here. Since xn0 of n is a periodic signal, we may be able to find DTFS for this signal. So we have learned in the previous video series that we are finding DTFS to find the frequency spectrum of the periodic discrete time signal. So here our signal xn0 of n is a periodic discrete time signal. So we may be able to find DTFS for this signal. So from the previous video series, the DTFS synthesis equation corresponding to xn0 of n is given as xn0 of n is equal to summation k within the range n0, that is the total number of samples under consideration for a periodic discrete time signal. So summation k within the range of n0 ak into e power jk omega 0 n, where omega 0 is the fundamental frequency of the complex exponential. So when we give different values for k, we will get different harmonics. So we are trying to represent this particular signal xn0 of n as a linear combination of harmonically related complex exponential, which we have detailed in the previous video series. So I am not repeating that here. So similarly, the DTFS analysis equation corresponding to xn0 of n is given as ak is equal to 1 by n0 summation n within the range n0 xn0 of n into e power minus jk omega 0 n. So since we have the range taken from minus n to n, we can just write this equation equal to 1 by n0 into summation n varies from minus n to n xn0 of n e power minus jk omega 0 n. When the period of xn0 of n increases to large values, that is n goes to infinity, our signal xn0 of n is equal to x of n, that is our periodic signal will become a periodic signal. Hence we can write the synthesis equation of xn0 of n as ak is equal to 1 by n0 into n varies from minus infinity to plus infinity, x of n e power minus jk omega 0 n. Because here you can see that we are considering the period of the signal goes to infinity, so we can change the limit of the summation as n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. Now in this particular equation we are going to define a new term. Okay, so the term is x of e power j omega, which is equal to summation n varies from minus infinity to plus infinity, x of n into e power minus j omega n. So please note that this is what we are defining here. X of e power j omega is equal to summation n varies from minus infinity to plus infinity, x of n e power minus j omega n. Now if you substitute this particular definition, so this is our definition, okay? So if you substitute the term x of e power j omega into the above equation, we will get an equation for ak, that is ak is equal to 1 by n0 into x of e power jk omega 0, right? So here the definition is for x of e power j omega, but in the actual equation you can see that it is written for k omega 0. So we have to write ak is equal to 1 by n0 into x of e power jk omega 0. The equation says that the discrete time Fourier series coefficient ak are 1 by n0 times the samples of x of e power j omega taken every omega 0 radians per second. Actually x of e power j omega is a continuous function in the frequency, and x of e power jk omega 0 is the samples of that particular continuous function. So from the equation itself it is clear. So here this particular equation says that the DTFS coefficients of x n0 of n is equal to the 1 by n0th time samples of x of e power j omega taken every omega 0 radians per second. That is the distance between samples, the distance between the samples in the frequency axis is omega 0 radians per second. Therefore we can say that 1 by n0 into x of e power j omega is the envelope corresponding to the coefficients ak. So I have shown this here. So consider this is the function x of e power j omega corresponding to a signal x n0 of n. Then the coefficients ak are the samples of this particular continuous function in the frequency axis. Now in the equation, that is ak equation, when the value of n0 increases, what happens? We can see that when the value of n0 increases, we have to take so many closer samples, right? So the spectrum will progressively become denser and denser. So when n0 increases to larger and larger values, we are taking so many samples in the x of e power j omega function. So the spectrum will become denser and denser. So our ak coefficients will come closer and closer, which we have already discussed in CTFT also. So if you do not remember, you can stop this video here and you can go back and review the concept. The same concept we are studying here also. So the spectrum will become progressively denser and denser when value of n0 increases. However, the magnitude of ak becomes smaller and smaller because there is a 1 by n0 term in this particular equation. Here omega 0 is equal to 2 pi by n0. So that is what we have to note here. The fundamental frequency omega 0 is equal to 2 pi by n0. So that says that we have to divide the 2 pi region into n0 samples, and when the value of n0 increases, omega 0 will become smaller and smaller, right? Omega 0 is equal to 2 pi n0 is a spacing of the samples in the frequency domain in the x of e power j omega function, and when n0 increases, we need to take more samples in the function x of e power j omega in the frequency axis. However, the relative shape of the envelope remains the same. So the shape of the envelope will not change. However, we have to take more number of samples within the envelope, and the height of the envelope will go smaller and smaller when n0 increases. So we can write mathematically, when n0 goes to infinity, the fundamental frequency omega 0 goes to small value, almost equal to 0, infinitesimally small value, and ak also will become smaller and smaller in height. the amplitude of AK also will go smaller and smaller. So the separation between the successive harmonic, that is omega 0, is approaching 0 when n0 increases, or we can say it is infinitesimally small. The separation between the successive harmonics omega 0 is infinitesimally small, and the spectrum becomes so dense that it appears to be continuous. Instead of taking samples at a distance of omega 0, when the omega 0 will become infinitesimally small, the spectrum will come closer and closer, and it will appear as a continuous function. So that is the basic idea here. Now if you substitute this particular AK, which is equal to 1 by n0 into x of e power jk omega 0 into our actual synthesis equation, which we have started at the beginning, we will get x n0 of n is equal to 1 by n0 into summation k within the range n0 x of e power jk omega 0 into e power jk omega 0 n. So we have already studied that n0 is given as 2 pi by omega 0, or omega 0 is given as 2 pi by n0. So from that relation we can write 1 by n0 is equal to omega 0 by 2 pi, and if you substitute that into this equation which we have just derived here, we will get x n0 of n is equal to 1 by 2 pi. So instead of 1 by n0 we have to write 1 by 2 pi summation k within the range n0 x of e power jk omega 0 e power jk omega 0 n into omega 0. So this omega 0 come at the end of the equation. When n0 increases to infinity, omega 0 become d omega in the above equation, and the equation, the summation become integral in this equation. The plot of x of e power j omega into e power j omega n is given in this figure. So look at the figure. So this is a continuous function which is periodic with respect to an interval of 2 pi. See here you can see this is minus pi and this is pi, and this is the plot of x of e power j omega into e power j omega n. Now you can note that the function x of e power j omega is periodic with a period of 2 pi, as I said earlier. So we already know that e power j omega n, that is the complex exponential, discrete time complex exponential, is periodic with a period of 2 pi. So the product of both x of e power j omega into e power jk omega n is also periodic with a period of 2 pi. So if you apply all these facts which we have discussed so far, we can get the equation as x of n is equal to 1 by 2 pi into integration within the range 2 pi. Now the summation become integration within the range 2 pi and x of e power j omega, so that is the continuous function, into e power j omega n, that is the complex exponential, discrete time complex exponential, into d omega. So you understand the difference between the two equations. X of n0 n become x of n because n0 is goes to infinity and 1 by 2 pi is there, and instead of the summation we are doing the integration within the range of 2 pi, and x of e power jk omega 0 into e power jk omega 0 n is the samples in this envelope. And now we are considering a continuous function, so it will become x of e power j omega. K omega 0 is for different rectangles or different samples, so that will be changed to omega into e power j omega n instead of k omega 0. So that is how the equation is developed. Since x of e power j omega into e power j omega n is a periodic function with the period 2 pi, the interval of integration can take in any interval of 2 pi. It's not necessary that you have to start from minus pi to pi, even you can take from 0 to 2 pi. Any interval of 2 pi is good enough. So now the integration in this equation, or the integral in this particular equation, is known as the Fourier integral. And we have two equations now. They are x of n is equal to 1 by 2 pi into integral within the range 2 pi x of e power j omega e power j omega n d omega, and this equation is known as the synthesis equation of DTFT. And we have an equation for x of e power j omega, that is summation n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity x of n e power minus j omega n. This is known as the analysis equation of DTFT. So the synthesis equation says that to synthesize x of n we need to use a spectrum over a frequency interval of only 2 pi starting at any value of omega. In other words, the synthesis equation is a representation of x of n as a linear combination of complex exponential which are infinitesimally close in frequency with amplitudes x of e power j omega into d omega by 2 pi. The analysis equation says that DTFT can be computed using the equation, and the Fourier spectrum of the signal indicates the relative amplitude and phases of the exponentials required to synthesize the aperiodic signal x of n. So using these complex exponentials and its combination, we can create the signal x of n. Our derivation of these equations indicate that how an aperiodic sequence can be thought of as a linear combination of complex exponentials of different frequencies. So this is different from the DTFS. In DTFS, we are trying to represent a periodic discrete time signal x of n as a linear combination of harmonically related complex exponential. But here that is not the case. Here we are trying to express an aperiodic signal x of n as a linear combination of complex exponentials of different frequencies, not harmonically related complex exponentials of different frequencies which are infinitesimally closer in the frequency axis.